It's time to pour this. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is my first time ever doing an acrylic pour. You know, checked out some of the videos, read some of the tips, blah 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 blah. So I've just combined a lot of the information. I'm gonna do my kind of like my own thing. I'm not an expert at this. I don't even know what this type of technique is called. I'm basically just gonna, I'm not doing where you put in a bunch of paint colors, sliding on the side into one cup, flipping it. I'm literally just making a bunch of cups, one color, and just laying it out, filling this whole thing up and tilting the damn thing. So, but here's the stuff I'm going to be using. Mainly it's going to be, the main color is going to be black. That's why we have two big things of it. But we're going to have something in a silver metallic, a gold metallic, a red metallic, and a white metallic. I'm going to be mixing it half and half of paint and glue off. From what I hear, that's actually pretty good. And I'm going to be thinning it down with distilled water. And there's my cups and there's my stir sticks. So I'm going to go ahead and start making paint. Looks like I'm going to need quite a bit.
Another rock stupid time lapse.
Holy fuck, there you go. Good God. Oh, jeez. Well, here's the fun pour time. So I decided to spell my name over the table to start with, because what the hell, it's my table. So yeah, this was a lot harder than it looks, especially for the big part. Eventually when it starts flowing to the bottom, and then it's like wrestling a greased refrigerator. And yeah, I needed more paint, so I did was just fill it, put in paint to where I think it needed. I wanted this thing to mostly be black, so I just did a lot of that. Yeah, something this size and this heavy was really tricky to do by myself, and of course, getting it all over the bottoms of the damn thing, which I didn't show during this video, was what I did on the bottom. I just took some black gloss spray paint and just coated the bottom, knowing I was going to do some more to the underneath anyways after this, but just giving it a base, something extra to seal on the underneath. I'm literally stretching much paint as I can to do this. Boy, this was a mess. Well, here it is. This is my first pour. I think it's okay. Yeah, really, I think it's okay. Not as well, we'd like it to be a little more darker. It was difficult. Something this big, this heavy was difficult. Makes me wish I didn't kind of paint the underside, or have more something to grab to, and also more space to work with. God, this is messy. This is a really messy job. Definitely use different clothes. Wear clothes you're gonna throw away. I noticed one of the whites there, it had chunks. If you saw me plucking some stuff out and then just going over with it. But holy crap. Yeah, this one was difficult. This one was very difficult to do. Mainly because how heavy it was and how slick it was to hold it. I mean, it was like just holding on, it's just like a greased pig. But well, see how it looks when it dries? See how the metallics look? I mean, this is my first attempt, so And it's my desk. I'm living with it. I don't hate it. Like I said, I kind of wish it was a little bit better. Maybe they should have took like extra people or more on the, or do it on the floor where I can really raise the thing up. But yeah, trying to do this, I didn't in such tight places. I'm trying to keep the mess on this table itself. But we'll let this dry overnight. And remember, I'm going to epoxy over this thing too. So if it's got a little bit raised and whatever. I mean, I see the waviness, whatever, but as soon as I epoxy over it and sand it down and polish it, it should be flat. But I do like this. I think this is cool. I like that. That's pretty neat. Maybe what I should have done was just black and red, and that was it. That would have been just two colors. Maybe I went overboard on the multiple colors. I should have just probably stuck with black and red. But cool. This is my first attempt on this. Gives me an idea on how much I need. Oh, I'm definitely got a lot of cleanup tomorrow, so that's gonna be my thing. I don't really care about that, whatever. Yeah, work with it. That's for sure. So the next phase on this thing on my desk is, well, obviously as this thing dries, going to have to set it off to the side and set it off to the side, safely work and cure for about a month, and then figure out what to do with the legs and how to make the shelves, how to mount the shelves. I got a couple ideas in my head, but I'm not really sure. So that's where we stand on this desk. We'll take a look at it tomorrow. The other good thing, I don't really see hardly any bubbles in it too. One thing I did make sure on stirring is not like keep pulling the stick in and out of the mix as I'm stirring it. Just keep it in there and just slowly stir. So, well, tomorrow I got some cleanup. And boy, this was harder than I thought it was going to be. A lot harder.
Well, it's actually now time to prep for the epoxy pour. So, what I kind of learned based off of doing the acrylic pour to make it more cleaner is I'm kind of making like a tub, really. You know, I've just got some 2x4s and whatever. I just loosely laid like make a dam on each side. Just lay some boards out on all four corners, and then just drape it in plastic, which is why I have the plastic laid out. This method actually works pretty well. Lay it all out. So that way, so whatever epoxy doesn't just, you know, run off the plastic and then run off to the floor, get it messy. It all just is contained in there. There. Now it's time to set up the boards. There's the desktop. One thing you want to make sure is try to get it level as frequently possible. Because when you do a pour, where you think it's going to flow, it's going to flow to the lowest spot. And you don't want that. You want it to self-level itself evenly. So take your time. And for me, this was a lot of checking, rechecking, checking, and rechecking, and checking, and rechecking. And I'm actually adjusting it with using a collection of like paint stir sticks to bring up ends and all that stuff. And then start laying out my other pieces, whatever I can fit in there. You know, blow it off real good. You know, make sure your surface is clean, because you don't want to trap anything underneath your pour. You only get one shot. Right there, I use a tack rag. I'll pick up anything that just couldn't get blown off. You know, tack rag is really good. Really, really, really good, because like I said, this is your last chance. Make sure your stuff is clean. Clean, clean, clean.
It's been a month. It's cured, so it's time to do the part that I've been actually looking forward to. The epoxy tabletop coating. First, one thing we're going to do is we're going to put what they call a seal coat, and then we're going to do the pour coat a day later. I'm going to let it takes 24 hours to cure per coat. I'm going to do that. Basically, this one, sometimes you get lucky, you could actually do it in one coat. I've seen it before, but it's usually done in two. This one, I have a pretty good suspicion it's going to take two. I wanted to do all 4 pieces at the exact same time. I just don't have the room on here to properly do it. And for the square footage that it'll take for all 4 pieces, calculated, it's literally 1 gallon per coat. So this is a 2-gallon process. Like I said, I wanted to do all 4 at the same time so I could utilize each kit. But now I'm just gonna have to do the math a little bit different, so I can make sure that I pour just enough for this and not run out for the rest. So I'm gonna go ahead and calculate that out, and I'll show you the stuff we're gonna be using for this pour. And just letting you know, just like this was my first acrylic pour, this is also gonna be my first epoxy pour. Good thing this thing is not really intended for me to sell. This is my personal desk, so whatever goes wrong, hey, you know, it's on me. But hey, I'm learning. If you're watching this, you're learning too. So if we make mistakes, figure out why that is, and we learn from it. So with that, I'm going to show you the stuff that I'm going to be using to do the pour. So I figured it out for this first step. It would be 2.5 quarts total to do this first part of the pour. So I kind of already used my quart measurements. There's 2.5, and I just split the diff, so that's part A and part B. So we're going to mix that up. Starting to become clear. Just see all the micro bubbles, so I think we're good. Now I'm going to let this set for a few minutes. It says doing that will help release some of the bubbles that's in the mix. I don't know if you can see, this is what the epoxy looks like right now. Very bubbly, but it's only been about 30 seconds. So, all right, let's do this. Gotta get the gloves. The gloves. Kind of important. It's gonna be sticky. Rip. Okay. Here we go. Make sure I have enough for the other guy. Set this over here. So, start spreading it out. What I've seen, spread. I'm keeping my little plastic spat or thingy like very low, like maybe 35-degree of an angle. The reason why that is, it kind of leaves a little extra. I gotta go over here and do this. Now, I'm not working the edge yet. I want to make sure the top is covered, and then I'll start flowing it out towards the edge. Just working it around closer to the edge as I can. give it a little bit moderate pressure just because this is a seal coat. Want to make sure I can be able to work it. Now I can go to the edge. Just kind of doing like little serpentine turns. Letting my little spat go like about an inch over the edge of my spat is like an inch over, but the rest of it stayed on the table. You know, just enough to get the epoxy to flow over, but still leave quite a bit on the table. This is actually kind of fun. Now I'm just gonna go lightly over the whole thing again. Seems like it's a little bit dry over here. Here. Okay, so push this, push this. Same thing, just another. And I'm still giving it moderate pressure. But I'm also want to make sure it goes over. Okay, now we go to the other piece. I think I've got too much epoxy on this one right here, which in that case may actually just leave it, just let it self-level. And call this one part done, but I have a feeling I'm going to have to the other. Yeah. Okay, foam brush time. Basically just painted the sides. Smear the sides. For me, the back isn't too critical, but because you never see it. This back edge is up against the wall, but it's good to have it sealed. I get some of the drip on the bottom, drip on the bottom. Dip on the bottom. Do the same thing with this sucker. This, I'm just gonna have to guess it just because I can't see it. Bottom. Chase grips. Alright, I think it's now time for I'll tell you the truth, I'm not going to actually use the notch trowel. I'm going to skip that because it actually looks pretty good, but we need some heat. Popping them bubbles. And I believe for sure I'm going to put one more flood coat on this. Only because I do see a couple low spots in the epoxy. This is actually kind of fun. Too bad there's a little lift in this corner, or I would have just said screw it, let's just mix up the whole thing and dump it and set it and forget it. Now one thing for sure that I'm seeing right now, because it's going to dry looking like this, which I don't think you'll be able to see it on camera, I'll try and shoot it when it's done, is that it's really bringing the metallics out. I mean, totally bringing the metallics out. You can see all the micro bubbles popping. Still a little drippy on this one. But I think this one's going to just be done. Matter, I gotta retouch up the bottom anyways. The bottom, I'm just gonna spray paint the bottom, sand down from where I had the hand prints from doing the acrylic, and just clean up the top. Alright, we'll go back and do a little bit more on this one. You know, it's like I don't really see much anymore, but never know. Well, you should know. Alright. Whew. Well, here's the seal coat. Seal coat looks actually nice, even though I know there's some areas that, yeah, definitely needs the flood coat. Kind of like, you can't really, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like semi-flat. But other than that, I think this is really. I can only imagine what the next coat of epoxy is going to do. But I think I'll do some type of light sanding on it. I got to research the grit. And here's this piece. I think is going to be just one and done. Because this one actually got more heavier epoxy on it.
So at least I can save some of that. But yeah, I don't know if you can, like I said, I don't know if you can see it, but it really makes the metallics pops. I mean, actually, here's a good way to actually look at it. Here are these two that haven't been, you know, looks very flat, really. You can't really see the metallics that great. I mean, they're there, but boy, when you put the epoxy on it, the metallics just pop. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all I'm going to do for today. Next step would be do the same thing on those two pieces. Let these ones cure overnight, set them aside. I'll do those ones, them cure overnight, set them aside. Come back, do these ones, and then finish on that. So for something like this, yeah, it's going to be a 4-day process. I was hoping it would be like 2, you know. I'm not worried about a little bit of this, whatever. Like I said, when this is all done, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to pretty much sand, like from the terrible handprints of the struggle of doing this thing, you know, like all this crap. I'm going to smooth them down. I'll smooth down the drips and just put an undercoat of black over it to seal underneath. So I'm not too worried too much about the underside. But I definitely don't want the handprint paint job. Back, I'm not really too worried about there. That's usually up against a wall side. That's why I put the back of this one here and this one here, so I'm not really too picky. But geez, I really like the shine.
It's deep.